So if we undo number 1, open up, and we've got a limp onion. Open up the middle one, and we've got some lint eggs, and open up the third one, and we have got a limp big egg. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to make it. So first of all, we will need a piece of card that measures 8.5 by 8.25. So we want one that measures 8.5 by 8.25. We are then going to stick it in on the 8.25 side. So I'm just going to extend my arm. Just let me swing some more space. That's it. So we're going to stick it in. Let me just, that's the 8.5. So I've got to make sure I've got it right. Just let me, no, sorry, on the 8.5 inch side we want it. So not the 8.25. So you're going to put it on the 8.5 inch side, and then we're going to score it at 1.5. So I'm going to put it in at 1.5 and score. Let me make sure I've got that exactly. So 8.5. So we're going to score at 1.5, then at 4. Make sure that's on 4. Score that on 4, and then we're going to move it along to 5.5. So that's 5.5, and then we're going to score it at 8. Okay, so that's 8. Score it on that. Then we're going to turn it on to the 8.25 side, and we're going to score it at 1.5. So I'm going to score that 1.5. And then I'm going to rotate 180 degrees and then score it at 1.5 again. Okay. There we go. Right, now I'm going to put it back so that the narrow score line, which is the 8.25, so just check in, yes, the 8.25 side with the narrow score line, I'm going to place that at the top, and I'm going to put that in at 1 inch. So you're going to put it in at 1 inch, and I'm going to bring my cutting blade, and then I'm going to cut down to the third score line. So that's 1 score line, 2 score line, and that's your third score line. So I'm just cutting down to that third score line. So I use my edge there where my mark is. I want that to be exactly on the third score line down there. Okay, so I've got it in at 1 inch, so that's at 1 inch at the top and there, and I'm going to pull it down and cut, so making sure that that's absolutely level on the 1 inch, and cut down to the third score line. So that's passing through the first score line, passing through the second, and I'm going to stop on the third score line. So I'm using that little mark there that is the same part there. Okay, then I'm going to move it to 3 inches, and this time I'm only going to cut down to the second score line. So move it to 3 inches, cut down to only the second score line this time. So that's the first score line, that's the second. Okay, now I'm going to turn it again 180 degrees, and I'm going to put it in at 1 inch, but this time I've moved my blade down to the bottom, and I'm going to come up this time. So I'm coming up from the first score line, second score line, and I'm going to stop at the third score line. So I'm putting that in. Let me get that right for me. 1 inch, so make sure it's absolutely level. 1 inch, and I'm coming up to the third score line. Okay, so there's my third score line. And then I'm going to move it along again to the 3 inch mark, and this time I'm only coming to the second score line. So I'm coming up to the second score line. Okay, just didn't quite get that. There we go. So let's just move my trimmer for the moment. So what we should have got is 2 flaps there that are the same length and 2 flaps there that's same length. Okay, so I'm going to turn it onto its side now, and with the narrow end of your score line at the top, we're just going to cut down this total score line to the first score line there. So I'm going to cut so that I'm cutting off the actual score line, so it leaves me, in fact I went a little bit off, so I've got a straight edge going down there. Then on this side I'm just cutting to the left hand side of the score line, only fractionally, so that my score line is left on this one here. Shouldn't be left on here. I might have left it a bit on there. Okay, let's repeat that at the other side. So I'm just cutting down so that it's taking off the score line, but keeping that line straight. So the score line is left on this piece here. And then I'm going to do the same so that I'm cutting down and my score line again is cut off, and that should take away that bit as well. Okay, so now I'm just going to wedge this bottom tab here. So I'm going to wedge slightly that tab there at both sides. So I'll wedge that both sides. Okay, and do the same. What we've done to one side, we're going to do to the other. So I'll just wedge that tab slightly. So we've got that big tab wedge, but I want to take some off. So if you look, that's your 1/2 inch. So roughly cut it to 1/2 inch like that. Okay, and same again on the other side. You're roughly going to cut that at 1/2 inch. Doesn't have to be precise, just roughly. Okay, and then we're going to cut up the score line. You can cut up the score line on this, and we're going to wedge that tab and that tab. So we'll wedge those two there. And then I'm going to cut straight down here, just to the first score line. And I'm going to come back to the side to wedge. Okay, so it's cut it off like that. And I'm going to wedge the back as well. Okay. So I've done that, and then I'm going to do exactly the same to the other side. So I'm going to wedge this narrow tab here, it's 1/2 inch tab. I'm going to cut straight down the score line, the centre of it, so that I can wedge to that side, and I'm going to wedge to that side. Then I'm going to cut straight down this tab here, and then just wedge at that. So we've got wedges on there. Now I'll just put that down, hoping that you can get, if you want to do a screenshot, let me just clear things away. So if you want to take a screenshot, that's how it looks. So them lines are kept straight. There's no wedging on that, or that. But that's wedged, that's wedged, that's not wedged, that's wedged, and the same at the other side. If we spin it round, that's wedged, that's not wedged, and that is wedged. Okay, we're going to burnish all our score lines now, so let's get and burnish all those score lines that we've done. So this is my own design that I've made. Had this idea in my head for a while and haven't got round. Now I'm going to leave these flat at the moment. I'm not going to fold those, but it won't matter if you have already folded them, that'll be fine. But I'm just going to leave mine flat because this next stage that I'm doing, you don't have to do, but I thought it was just added a bit of something. So I like using this punch that I'm going to use in a minute, the trio punch, our new one. I just love it. Wherever possible I use it. Okay, so we'll just spin that out a minute and I'll bring in the lovely trio punch. So here's the lovely trio punch, and of course I'm going to use that one. Now let me see how I did it. Yeah, I did it that way. So I've got that facing up like that. Now do be careful, you need to fold in this and bring it to the edge and make sure that it's fully in there, and in there you'll feel it. But then turn it over, move that out of the way, and then you're going to do the other one, and it will give you then the same cut. So again, I'm going to move that out of the way, going to do that, then turn it over, do the same, and then the third one, just tuck that flap in. We're going to do that side, turn it over, and do that side. Okay. Now what we're going to do now is bring those flaps back, and this is important that you fold that in. Place it in and look so that you make that as central as you can, so that it puts that in the centre as much as possible. That was out of mine. I'm not doing it directly over it, so it's hard for me to see. That's better. Don't forget to fold that flap in, then look where the centre is, as close as you can to the centre. That's better. That's what I was aiming for, the centre like that. I went a little bit off on that one, but it will be fine. You won't notice it when the ribbon's tied. Okay, so now we can get on and start gluing it together, supporting it. Right, so we're going to bring our 2 tabs in. Let's bring those in there. And going to bring those up, just like that. And they're going to be there, and then put some glue on this tab. Move that one out of the way and bring it round. So this is where it's better to use tape when you're filming, because when you use wet glue you've got to let it dry really without moving on. Okay, and then we're going to do the other side. So glue the tab, and I'll glue this one at the same time. Okay. Okay. That there. One. Doesn't take too long for my glue to stick really, but okay. So just while we're waiting for those to dry, just put that to one side to let that dry. We'll start with the interior panels. Right, so we have got 2 panels that measure, let me get to it, just under 5.5. Now, what I actually forgot to do was to do it just under. So I'm just going to bring in my trimmer and show you, but I might, because it's such a gnat snicker off, so you would just, let me see if I can bring that up close. So there's your 5.5, and just move it fractionally back, okay? And just take that off. Now, because it's such a little bit, that's going to travel up if I do that. So I'm going to do it on my small guillotine. And on the 2.5, again, put it at the 2.5 and then just move it just a fraction away like that. So you've only moved it a fraction. That will just give it enough room to sit down in this box in all the places we need it to go. So you need 2 that size, and then you'll need 1 that is slightly 6 3/16 by, again, just slightly under 2.5. Now I forgot to do it, and I'm just going to say, yeah, it's a bit too tight. If you don't do it that fraction under, it's a bit too tight. So I'm just going to bring in my guillotine, and you're going to say that I'm just going to take such a fraction off. Just make sure that I've got that there. And you can see that it's such a fraction that needs to be taken off, that it just makes it work that bit better. So I'm just going to eyeball this. I just need that tiny bit off. That's all it is. So I'm going to do that on all of them because I forgot to do it in my haste of measuring it out. So just taking it that fraction under 2.5, just take that off, and then we just need it fraction under the 5.5. So I'm just going to take that off, and let's see if I can put it together. You see, it's just that, put that together properly, it's just that tinny weeny bit. Right, it was that one that I've done. Let me just catch up with this one. So again, put it in at my 2.5, just move it fractionally away from the 2.5, and it just makes all the difference of it going and fitting correctly. And just take that a little bit off there. That's it. Okay, so we've got those right now. Right, so I'm going to bring in my trimmer again so we can use the scoring blade. So choose one of your 5.5 by 2.5 with those just unders off, and you're going to put it in at 1/2 inch and score. Then we're going to take it to the 2 inch, but what I want you to do again is you're going to put it at the 2 inch, but then you're going to just take it back that little bit. That's it, that little bit, and score. Then you're going to put it at 3.5, but again, just drag it back that little bit, and it is only a little bit. Then you're going to put it at 5 inches again. Well, actually, this time you can just line it up with the 1/2 inch on the other side and just score, and that should have hopefully given you the right size. Yeah, it has. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to score the next 5.5 by 2.5, the fraction just under. We're going to do exactly the same. So we'll start off this side at 1/2 inch because it did work out, and then we'll turn it over and do the other side at 1/2 inch. And then we'll pop it in at 2 and just move it that fraction back out of the way. We're then going to put it at 3.5 and just move it that fraction back. And then we've already got that score in. So them two are done. And then we're going to bring in our 6 3/8 and we're going to score that at 1/2 inch. And I'll do this the same. So I'll score that at 1/2 inch on both sides. And then I'm going to score it at the just under 2 again. So I'm moving it fractionally away from the 2. And then I'm going to put it in at 4 3/8. So I'm going to put it in at 4 3/8, just move it again fractionally back, and we should have got that. And those two should be the same size. Yes, they are. Brilliant. Okay, so just moving those fractions, it's not a 16th or anything, it's just moving it fractionally back, just gives it that bit of room that you need for it all fitting together. Okay, so let me take the cardigan off. I don't know why I put it on. And I'm just going to burnish all of these the same. Just make sure they're square. And there. Okay, and the last one. And just burnish those together. Now, apologies for not doing this box early doors so that you had a chance to make it up, but if I'm still doing it for Easter. Right, what I'm going to do is the fattest one. You see, you can see the difference that those two fit in. They're smaller. I'm going to join this to this side. What have I just done with my glue? There we go. So I'm going to join these two together, because these want to be glued all the way down. So these two will fit together. Like that on together. So you've got the widest one in the middle. Make sure they're even. And we're going to put another narrow on the other side. Okay, so we're gluing these completely all together. Okay, so they're glued totally together. And then this now will sit like this in the box, but because we want to tuck the edge in, we are only gluing halfway down. So do not glue at the top where the flap is. So I'm going to put glue there, and I'm going to put glue on the bottom half here. So you want to leave the top completely free for it to tuck down. So I'm going to bring my box back in and just slot that in. Okay, and just press that into the corner and press that into the corner. Actually, I forgot to glue on the bottom as well, so let me just pull that out, and we just need to glue on the bottom. Sorry about that, forgot to glue the bottom. Right, let's put it back in. So it doesn't matter which way around you do it, because it's same on either side of there. And right, now we can put these in. Make sure it glues on the bottom. Okay, and then these you need to just position in the right position. When these are on, you want to line those up with your lid. Okay, so I'm just gonna fold these, and they don't need to be super creased down, so I'm just going to fold those with my hands. Right, now these are going to tuck in between your tab like that. They'll tuck in those two tabs, and that's why we didn't glue all the way, so that those two tabs fit in. and you just adjust those inside. They'll hold in place when we've got things in, and that's going to go down. Right, we're just going to put those in place, make sure that they're all fitting where they should do. Let's put that back a minute. And just need to make sure the lid is in the correct position. That's it, that's in the correct position. And I'm just going to get a pencil and I'm just going to mark in the centre of this. So I'm just going to mark in the centre of each of my dashes. And then going to get my pokey tool. What have I done with my pokey tool? Oh, that's interesting. I've had everything out. Have I not put it back? Yes, it's there before my eyes. And I'm just going to use my pokey tool to poke an hole in these. Just move your fingers out of the way and it pokes through quite nicely without any fuss. So I've got it there. Right, now I'm decorating with a piece of DSP, and you want 2 pieces that are 1 3/8 by 5 1/4. So this is going to be the front and the back. All you want is coordinating card and DSP that you feel looks Eastery. So I like the lilacs, so these are a lilac-y colour. It's actually Fresh Freesia, which sadly, is Fresh Freesia staying? I think Fresh Freesia's staying, isn't it? Yay, Fresh Freesia's staying. So that makes me very happy. So it's become part of the colour family, I think. And I can't remember which one it is till I get my book. Can't remember. No. And I'm just giving that equal increments all the way around. That's it. Okay, and then you want 4 pieces that measure 1 3/8 by 2 3/8. So you want 4 pieces because 2 will go on our edge. So 2 will go down the edge here. That's it, just make sure you've got equal increment as well on the floor. So this was, if you recognise this was Friendly Hello. We got this DSP free early doors with the celebration. I've almost come to the end of the packet now, so there. And the two narrow top ones, it also fits on. Now the card colour that I'm actually using, I've not chosen to use Fresh Freesia. You could use white. Any coordinating colours, of course, are, that's why I love Stampin' Up so much, because all our things coordinate. So even retired stuff like this is purple, as I say, this is Purple Posy. That coordinates beautifully with it. So past and present do coordinate. Okay, and just put that down there. Okay, and then we've got a piece in the middle. So the piece in the middle is 2 3/16 by 2 3/8. So I better get this the right way, make sure I get it that way, and it looks as though I did the first time without any bother, so that's good. And I just thought having the flower on there was nice. So these fill nicely. In fact, I'll do my ribbon first. So now, because I've got that hole poked through, I just repoked my hole from the back this time, so going through. poking it through my DSP, and then I'm just using the Fresh Freesia ribbon, and I tend to just get a piece, I double it, and I kind of fold it and then push it with my Take Your Pick tool through my holes. So where are we? There, didn't get my hole then. So, and it nicely pulls through. So then all I do is just tie a little knot in the end, and not butterfingers. Okay, and just get my knot near the end, just pull those through ready for my bow, and I'm just going to do the same again. So let's see, roughly, I'll measure that for you, it's roughly about 11 inches I'm doing, roughly. I think that, yeah, I think that's about right. 11 inches and just folding it in half. Depends how good you can tie bows, whether you need more than that. Again, I'm just folding it and then just going to tuck this down through here. I just love this ribbon. This is beautiful. This probably is, don't know whether it'll go out. That will be interesting because as I say, I think Fresh Freesia is staying. Will be interesting to see, because this is the in colour ribbon. It will be interesting to see whether the Fresh Freesia ribbon is going to stay available or whether it will just completely go. I can't remember. I've not looked it up properly yet. I'm always pleased when I get the catalogue rather than looking online. I prefer physical catalogues in my hand to be able to see. Although we are getting where there is certain things that are only available online, so you have to check the online store to see the availability, but we as demonstrators get knowledge of that through looking on our demonstrators website. So just poke this through. I never thought I'd like the Take Your Pick tool, because I just used to use the pokey tool for everything. But of course we stopped doing the pokey tool, and it's just the Take Your Pick tool. But I use my Take Pick tool all the time. It's never far from me. I love the putty end. I love the scoring bits you get with it. Use the brush that you can buy additionally, and there is going to be something in the next catalogue that you can buy as well. Okay, so we will go for putting the eggs in. Now, 9 of these little mini eggs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm putting 9 of those mini lint eggs in. Then I'm putting 1 of the big eggs in, and you can choose either container, it doesn't matter. And then I'm putting 1 Limp Bunny in, and I thought that was rather a nice Easter treat. So I'm going to tuck down, but before I've fully tucked down, I'm going to push my ribbon, and because you've got this nice slotted bit now, this isn't so fiddly to do, but when you've got the camera in the way, it makes it more difficult, but it's not. Okay, so that tucked in there, and I'm going to just pull that down, and I purely just tie a bow. So pull it, and just tie your bow. And this time I'll neaten this up, because this will be finished and I can neaten it up. I didn't do on the other because I knew I was going to be undoing it and redoing it, so I didn't want to cut my ribbon until I'm ready to do that. But I thought this was sweet. I like doing the 3 mini bows. Let's get all our eggs, little eggs in. creeping. Okay, and again we're just going to stick those through there. Okay, and just put that down. Just make sure that that is where it's supposed to be square, and that, sure that's square along, yeah, in place. We'll adjust if I've not quite got it where I want it. And again, just tie your bow. I'll fiddle with that in a bit. And then again, this just slots down the side where we've left, and this just goes threading through there. Okay, so this one through, two through, and just make sure that that's sitting on the edge, and then I'm just going to tie this bow, do it again. Right, I'll fiddle with the bows in a minute. So that just needs to make sure you've got those in the right place. So I'll do the bows in a minute. Have I just dropped my rabbit now? So I've got my rabbit. You'll have seen on other videos how I talk about my rabbit, how I have done these. And I'm just, I'll put it up on dimensionals, didn't I? Now, where's my bits and bobs? I've got them all together, and now I've brought them in here. Oh, that's part of my rabbit, so that goes to sit on the top. So I'm going to glue him, or her, the flowers in her hair. So just going to put that over there, and then I've got the Happy Easter. I'm just going to glue the Happy Easter. So I'm putting that on an angle, and then I'll just put that in. There we go. And I'm just going to use my dimensionals, whatever I've done with them. Oh, what have I done with you? That right before me eyes, they shouting, they're there, they're there. Okay, so I've got my dimensionals. Just put my dimensional on the back, so I'm putting one either side at the bottom and one in the middle. Just put the flowers back in place there, and then to keep that where I want it, just going to put one so it goes over the flowers as well as the bunny's head. Okay, and then just stick that on there on the box. Right, now let's sort the bows out. So that one isn't too bad, is it? That's it, and get my scissors, just do an angle there. Which way? Yeah, I'll move it that way. Okay, let's bring this second one, that one's to go over there. Let's see, shorten these a minute, pull them back, that's better. Just bring that ribbon around a bit, and then just cut that and that, and then my last one I'm going to have to retie because it come loose. Just bring it down a bit more. just thought this was a lovely project. You could use this for other things as well, so you could adapt it to whatever you want, really. I just made them for Easter, but you could really do it for any occasion. So just cut that there like that. So there we go. So your 3 little bows like that, and then your Easter bunny on top. So I hope you like that. So I'll just show you again. The little things have fell out, so just because I've undone this box, is there any more about? So that's the finished box. Give me a thumbs up if you like it. So each one contains a lint bunny, lint little eggs, and a large egg for Easter. So I thought that was rather sweet. As I say, it's my own design that I've created. It's taken me a while to design it and get it right, but that's what we demonstrators do, spend our time designing, and then we show you what we've done. So hope you like that. Thank you very much for dropping by. As I say, do give me the thumbs up. Please subscribe if you don't subscribe, because I come on at all different times, and I forgot to put my gems on. So I've got these little ones that are from the Hues of Happiness. So I put one on the flower like that. I put a yellow one. I'm gonna have to, I never have trouble getting normally off with take your pick, and I've realised that I have a cushion and I managed to bend it underneath, and I realised that that's too hard and I can't do it on my mat. So now I've taken it off, I'm easily doing it. So that goes there. Well, in the place. So the flowers, the little flower there is Polished Pink, the light. That is Highland Heather, and I've done the light Daffodil Delight and the dark Daffodil Delight for the flowers on the bunny, if you wanted to know. And of course, you'd have to look at my previous videos to see how I did my bunny. I'm loving doing them like this. I'm going to show you as close as I can, because you don't get any colour marks. I do it with a brush. So I really like how I've done those, because I find doing flowers and things that are small, I have no problem at all using blending brushes, but some blenders, but sometimes when I'm doing a bigger area, I seem to not be getting it right, and I was very unhappy with it. And I thought, let's have a look at blending brushes. And so I did. I blended it with blending brushes and was very pleased with it. So I hope, as I say, hope you like that. As I say, please subscribe, press the notification button so you don't miss any further uploads. Do have a fantastic Easter, and do remember the reason that we have Easter is because Jesus died for us and rose again. So thank you very much for dropping by. God bless. Have a lovely Easter, and bye for now.